I consider 1st of May 1968 as the day I fell for the Afande job. 1st May 1968. Well, I fell for it a few days before, but I can't pinpoint the day. It was, let's say, a few days or even a few weeks before that, but officially I decided to treat it as 1st May 1968. On this Mayday, allow me to remember that. I've said, and I'll still continue saying, especially when people say that I should have ended up as a teacher. From the time I can remember, my father always insisted that I become a teacher. Of course, when we had an election in 1997 in Karatina, Madeira, people told me that, and even my subscribers usually tell me that I have good communication skills, and I thank my father for that he noticed a potential in that. But I myself, I liked the police work. My father himself, even though he was pushing me to be a police officer, but he also is to blame for my loving the police work. I remember when I was in primary, he used to give me, and I was not the only one, but he used to give me an exam that was called Police English Literacy Exam. He used to give me when I was in primary, and I would answer those questions, give him, and he would read the exams and laugh to himself. He never told me when I passed or anything. And I remember from Form 1 to Form 4, he used to give me papers for police law exams. Police law exam used to be called inspectorate exams. I remember even when I joined the police force, I passed those things quickly because I used to do them when I was in Form 1 to Form 4. He would give me the exams, and he would give me full scaps to write. And when I would write, he would read them and laugh and then go with the papers. I never knew whether I passed or anything. But when I joined the police force, I found when I joined the police force, the police law exams at first used to be called inspectorate, and during my time is when it was changed to police law exam. Now back to 1968. There is a picture I took next to our Volkswagen, my father's Volkswagen. It was the Volkswagen was number plate was KKV 54 or double KV 54. That was before when the vehicles went up to around KT something, KRSTU. That is when they started putting 054, something like that. But those days, the number was just 2, not 054. It was KKV 54. The vehicle had no radio, so we used to carry a transistor radio in the vehicle. And I remember when my father would go to Mombasa Municipal Stadium, he used to listen to RSA, Radio South Africa. When we would go, you would listen to that. There was the chirping of the birds. That is why whenever I record, you may have noticed that I like going to the forest. Today the weather is not good. That is why I've not gone to the forest for the chirping. There was that chirping, and then they would hear ni RSA, Radio South Africa. And then whatever they would talk, I don't know, because I was in Standard 1. And then we would go to Mombasa Municipal Stadium. Now there is an historical thing I want to tell Kenyans. That do you know that the Labor Day for 1968 was done in Mombasa? If you look at the new constitution, you'll find that apart from Jamhuri Day, all other national holidays are done in a rotational manner, apart from Jamhuri Day and Labor Day. Labor Day is not a government job, it is a labor movement thing. That is why the president is not mandatory to attend. And you may have noticed that when we had this multi-party, you'll find that when it started multi-party in 1992, you'll find that the presidents are very clever, that the last Labor Day before election, the presidents attend. But these other four, it's not mandatory for them to attend. But these other public holidays, you'll find that they are rotational. The first time we had a rotational, because all the time everything used to happen in Nairobi and at Uhuru Park. The first time it happened out of Nairobi was Mayday or Labor Day in 1968, when it was done in Mombasa Municipal Stadium. That is historical, isn't it? You can now go to the pay bill. Now, we never knew, and during Kanu days, secrets were so big that you'll never know. But studying the history of Kenya after Kanu days, we have now come to realize that those days Kenyatta wanted to attend. Actually, Kenyatta used to attend Labor Day. Yeah, I don't think there is any he missed. But when it was the turn for them to have Labor Day, he had a medical condition, and the doctor used to insist that he stays at a hot place like Mombasa because of his medical condition. This one we came to know later, but we never knew why it was chosen to be in Mombasa. So the Labor Day was done in Mombasa, and it was the turn for the police to do the parade. It was time for the police to do the parade, and in the police, we had at the county level, the new constitution came when I had left the police service. So at the county, the head of the police in the county was called OCPD. And then below him, there was Deputy OCPD. And the third in command used to be called SOA, Staffing Officer Administration. So the parade commander was the third in command in police in Mombasa. That was Assistant Superintendent of Police Japheth Lando, son of JI-TENGE. So he was the parade commander. I have to say this for those of you who know the disciplined forces, that the rank of Assistant Superintendent of Police was removed in 1972, but it was returned recently. We now have an Assistant Superintendent of Police. But from 1972 to the new constitution, we never had an Assistant Superintendent, but we had an Acting Superintendent of Police. So when the Labor Day parade was there in Mombasa Municipal Council, it was the duty of the Kenya Police to have a parade. And the parade commander was Assistant Superintendent Japheth Lando, son of JI-TENGE. He is the one who was the parade commander. And for any parade to happen, there is a few days or even weeks where they do the parade. So for reasons that we will never know, because my father has, and yes, my father was very harsh and very whatever. But there was something that when my father used to take decisions, coincidentally, I'm the one who used to be around. Why? I don't know. I remember I've met a few people who were close to father, and I would tell them how they used to discuss with my father things when I was in standard 1, standard 2. I don't know why my father used to pick me and I would be there. So this thing about parade, we would leave home. I remember on those parade days, my mother used to prepare hii mayai wanaita macho ya ng'ombe and slices of bread plus there was what do you call KCC butter. Yes, KCC butter. My father would take the slice of bread with the egg that is called macho ya ng'ombe or something, I don't know, chefs will tell us, and then apply KCC butter. I would also take that. And then from there, we would leave that place, me and my father and his Volkswagen KKV 54 with that transistor radio. Listen to Radio South Africa, then go to the stadium, and I would stay in the terraces, watch my father doing the parade. When we would watch the parade, parade practice, in the evening, my father would go back, we would go back home, and my father would buy beers. He would not go to the bar that night. For those few days, he would come with beers, and the beer used to be called City Lager. City Lager, which was produced by Allsop's Pilsner. Also, Pilsner was later swallowed by East African breweries or Kenya breweries, and Pilsner started being produced by Kenya breweries, but also, but the City Lager just disappeared. So he would take that beer called City Lager, and I would be there with the 2 sticks, and I would start shouting, hop, 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 and then I would do the way police do. Of course, I'll not talk the way they talk because I now know, but those days I don't know. I'd say, hip, hip, hip. I take a stick, kiss it, whatever. My father would really laugh and take beer. And then he would take a glass of City Lager, give it to me. I would gulp that and be drunk. Just 1 glass. After taking 1 glass, I would just sleep on the sofa set. I would not be taken to the children's bedroom. And that is when I loved the police work. Since that time to the time of recording, yeah, it is true that I have communication a capability. I may have ended up, if I would have ended up as a teacher, I would have ended up a teacher. My head would be in teaching, but my heart would be in the Afande. By the time I was completing Form 6, my interest was 45% police, 40% army. I didn't say military, I said army. 45% police, 40% army, and the rest for other disciplined forces. Now, on this Labor Day or Mayday, you know when and how I loved the police force. Before the cameraman puts off the switch off, I would want to tell you that when I was a recruit, our class teacher, you know, class teachers then used to be called, in Kiganjo, they used to be called class instructor. Our class teacher or class instructor, one day, that was around May 1st, 1983, he came to class and asked us, he was teaching us this thing about alarm. So he asked us, is there anybody who understands the word Mayday? Mayday. The whole class, nobody knew. I raised up my hand and said, Mayday means Labor Day. That is 1st May. He laughed and said, and then told us. I want to say that when I joined the police, that was 1982, we even had people who had never gone to school, who were employed by only the ID. So when you are asking about Labor Day or May Day, they did not know. So when the teacher laughed, Inspector Elijah Kisanga Wakatulu, when he laughed because I was referring to Labor Day, but he was teaching us these signs that are sent during danger time. Signs such as SOS. When somebody says SOS, save our souls. And then even in the radio room, signal, they have a message that is called Zulu. Say, if when you walk around, you find police officers with walkie-talkie, isn't it? If someone goes to the walkie-talkie and says Zulu message, then it means that is an SOS. And then our teacher told us at Mayday is also an SOS that is sent by pilots. They send by pilots when they are in danger. When a pilot is having dangerous situation and he talks to air traffic control, he says, Mayday, 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 which is taken to be SOS.